live, and we'll check out yet another amazing video from, or video, audio, what do you call them? Blog post from Chip Conley. So looking forward to sharing this one with you. Welcome, everybody. This is your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start you off well. And we'll give it a minute for our typical practical rebels to hop on today, because I'm really looking forward to sharing this one with you. The last 2 days, I so appreciate the information that I shared with you. These people are thinking in ways that I'm thinking, and it really is reassuring. Good morning, Ruth Ann. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. So this will be the third day in a row where we've got this theme going about the shifts that are occurring, and I'm hoping some reassurance that we're on the right track. We're on the right track. Even again, that it looks like a total shit show, we are on the right track. So we'll do some breathing and some tapping. We'll do a little bit of a review of the last 2 days, and then we'll jump into today's video. But let me grab a drink here. And I'm hoping my back holds out while we're doing this, because last night on the last Zoom I was on, I was standing behind my chair doing the "I am so miserable" dance because my back was just not cooperative. So, but I feel like this is very much related to all the things that we're talking about these last few days and we'll be talking about today. So, it's helpful when you can put something that's miserable into a context. So, that's what I'm doing. All right, let's start with some tapping and some breath. Nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Wiggle a little bit. See if you have any snap, crackle, pop in there today. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just letting yourself settle. Nice deep breath in and hold at the top. And out. And hopefully what that does is help you feel a little more grounded and settled and focused and present. The more present we are, the more of this information we can soak up and put to good use. Put to good use. Because it's one thing for you all to listen to me in the morning. It's another thing for you to take something out of what's been said and use it to your advantage. Welcome to whomever else is here. Glad you're here. The reason I do these every morning is so that you have something to chew on during the course of the day and maybe make the day a little more real. Good morning, Jo Neal. Glad you are here. Hello, hello. Welcome. So let's do a little bit of review on the last couple of days, laying some groundwork for where we're going to go today. So 2 days ago, we had a guest post from Scott Bryson, who is a mythologist and storyteller, also a psychologist, on Chip Conley's MEA blog post site. And because Chip was out in the middle of radiation, he was doing radiation and hormone depletion therapy. He turned it over to Scott to talk about what happened way back when. Good morning, Beth. Glad you're here. When people began to get sick. And the story that was told is that elders went out to the edge of darkness and just stayed there. They didn't try to fix anything. They didn't try to change anything. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. They tried to listen, to just be present in the stillness and listen. And songs emerged. And in other circumstances, stories emerged. And then bringing those back to the group and sharing them. And people began to heal. So that was our reading 2 days ago. Then yesterday, I shared a guest post on Father Richard Rohr's Center for Action and Contemplation blog post by Carmen Acevedo Butcher, which was talking about contemplation and how it is going into that darkness, going within. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome. Glad you're here. And just being, again, just being, not trying to fix things, change things, do things, just being present, just being present. And I will tell you that what's going on with my back and hip is an incredibly clear signal. Stop doing, start being. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. And yesterday, I did just a little. I carried one little box and reached a couple of times. No, 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 don't be doing that. So I hope today I listen better. I also have a big span of time open today. And what the hard part is when your back is out, it's sort of all consuming and it's very difficult to focus. So I ended up actually laying on the bed doing my 1 hour holosync horizontal instead of vertical, which helped. And I think I actually did drift off, but that probably meant what needed to get in got in better because I wasn't in the way, right? So today's reading is about the fire horse, the year of the fire horse. That's the year we're in right now. And this is another Chip Conley. He's writing it himself. And the question is, do I love or hate the fire horse? So let's take a breath. Let it go. Yeah, not even slow down. Stop. Dead stop, I think. Very little, I feel like, is safe to do at this point. I certainly can't garden. Yeah. And no, and I would say the first time I had back issues, I was in high school. I was a tennis player, and I stopped rapidly to go the other direction to get to a ball, and pain shot all the way up. That actually ended up doing some nerve damage to the point where when I would shave my leg, I couldn't feel the skin. It was icky. And various times over the years, carrying around a pregnancy tends to mess up your back if you already have vulnerability. So, yes, I've had this off and on, but it's been, let's see, 6 years because the day after my mother died, I bent down to pick up a 6 pack of soda, and that was all she wrote. So, it's been 6 years. So, here we are again. And I think it fits in perfectly with this reading. So let's see what you think. Let's see how this resonates for you. Tell me what your nuggets are. What are you taking with you out of this? Because I think he is so spot on. So it's called Do I Love or Hate the Fire Horse? Chip Conley. I'm not an astrologer, but I've started paying a lot more attention to the symbolism this year of the fire horse. Because honestly, it feels like life strapped me onto a wild animal and whispered, either learn to ride uncertainty or get dragged by it. Anybody? Anybody? In the Chinese zodiac, the horse represents movement, freedom, intensity, independence, passion, and volatility. Add the fire element, and everything gets amplified. Emotion, speed, disruption, transformation. That sound familiar? Fire horse years are said to catalyze dramatic change. Well, that's an understatement, isn't it? They tend to accelerate what was already unstable and force hidden truths into the open. They're not known for subtlety. Check. Since the Lunar New Year in late February, my life has felt like a master class in impermanence. My mother died after years of struggling with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. My father moved into assisted living, which is its own emotional tectonic shift. Oren, that's his partner, made the difficult but understandable decision to spend more time in his homeland of Israel during a time of war and uncertainty, wanting to be with his family and closest friends. My own cancer suddenly accelerated, requiring me to begin a treatment path I desperately hoped I wouldn't need. And because apparently metaphors are now arriving physically, I fractured a tooth all the way down to the nerve. Mothers, mortality, molars. This poor guy. Meanwhile, our modern Elder Academy business has faced significant turbulence due to world events beyond our control. Two international crises, the Mexican cartel related violence that rattled travelers. I had a cousin whose daughters and ex husband were all on a flight that landed in the midst of that. They could see smoke and fire at the airport. They fueled up, turned around, and came back home. Yeah, that was not pretty. Um, he says about that, which frankly has had no impact in our rural hamlet in Baja, and the accelerating Iran war. Both happened shortly after the Chinese New Year and slowed global travel in ways that directly impacted us. Hospitality businesses are extraordinarily sensitive to fear. When the world feels unstable, people retreat inward. And yet, perhaps that's the deeper invitation of the Fire Horse year, not to outrun instability, but to learn to move through it without abandoning yourself. I'll pause there for a moment. Let me read that again. Not to outrun instability, but to learn to move through it without abandoning yourself. For much of my life, I believed resilience meant holding it together. Anybody familiar with that idea? Staying strong, enduring, but I'm beginning to think resilience is actually something softer and wiser. It's permeability, the ability to let grief, fear, uncertainty, and change move through you without becoming permanently armored by them. Brene Brown always talks about the armor and how we need to take off the armor when we're in the arena, bloody, naked, dirty, sweaty. That's where the real stuff happens. That's where the real stuff happens. This year has burned away illusions that time is unlimited, that health is guaranteed, no kidding, that parents are permanent, that businesses can be fully controlled, that love protects us from loss. But it has clarified what matters most. Ready for his list? Friendship, presence, purpose, delegation, truth telling, beauty, warm meals, honest conversation, time with people you love, meaningful work that feels less like ambition and more like service. And for me, I would add in there community, 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 collaboration, connection, all the things. The Fire Horse year is often associated with reinvention through intensity, not gentle transformation, purifying transformation. We're all stepping into the fire to be transformed. And maybe that's what this is. Not punishment, not bad luck, but a fierce invitation to become more honest, more surrendered, and more awake to the fleeting miracle of being alive at all. The fire burns, but it also illuminates. I love that. The fire burns, but it also illuminates. Looking back at previous Fire Horse years helps to give context to what this energy can bring for all of us, not only in terms of disruption, but also in terms of lasting progress. The most recent Fire Horse year before 2026 was 1966, a time often remembered for upheaval, but it was also a year that catalyzed profound and necessary transformations. Beneath the unrest of the era were breakthroughs that reshaped society in enduring ways. Civil rights legislation gained momentum and visibility. Youth culture began redefining values around freedom, equality, and self expression. And rigid social hierarchies were challenged in ways that permanently altered the collective trajectory. Do we not see old calcified institutions crashing and burning? Thank you, Glenn, for posting that. Yes, yes, yes. What can we see now that the fire is burning? What can we see? Here's another piece, which to me speaks volumes about why so much of this Um, the arts is being so brutally crushed right now. Artistic innovation flourished. Music and literature became vehicles for truth telling. I believe they've always been vehicles for truth telling. Art, music, literature, everything. Vehicles for truth telling. And new forms of identity and community began to take shape. Many of the freedoms and cultural shifts that later generations would take for granted were seeded during this volatile but fertile time. Firehorse years tend to act as accelerants for changes that are already overdue. Let me read that one again. Firehorse years tend to act as accelerants for changes that are already overdue. They bring buried truths to the surface. Remember we talked about that iceberg with all the stuff hidden below it, and now it's rolled over and we can see the dark underbelly, okay? They bring buried truths to the surface and force conversations that can no longer be postponed. This can't be blown off. While this process can feel chaotic in the moment, it often results in greater authenticity, expanded rights, and the breaking of cycles that have long restricted growth. We're bursting forth from a series of things that have held us in a containment that isn't useful. Is this exactly how most of us would have written this overhaul? No, not at all. But here we are. Here we are. Historically, periods associated with fire horse energy have coincided with leaps in creative expression, technological curiosity, and the courage to imagine alternatives to the status quo. What begins as tension frequently matures into reform, innovation, and renewed vitality. Love that one too. Let me read that one again. What begins as tension frequently matures into reform, innovation, and renewed vitality. Well, that's a lot to digest. Come experience this Firehorse year at an MEA campus in Santa Fe or Baja, because these are precisely the conditions you've been waiting for to catalyze your own transformation. If not now, when? Chip. So whether you go to Baja or Santa Fe, or you do your own vision quest for a couple of days, or you take a week off and just go stay in an Airbnb, or you write that book you've been waiting to write or started 12 times and put aside, there's also a cleaning up of unfinished business that happens during this kind of a time. So take a look around you. Take a look around you and see. I mean, I'm certainly getting hit in the back with the things that need to be continually cleaned up, set aside. When I went to see the practitioner, one of the words that I used for what I'm feeling is a heaviness. A heaviness. Yeah. So it's time to lighten this stuff up, to break off the um, armor that we've put on. It's brittle anyway. It doesn't really protect us. So crack it off, throw some pieces off. Might you feel a little bit like a turtle without its shell for a bit? Yeah, yeah. But well worth getting rid of this stuff that has encased us, entrapped us, kept us walking a certain path that may not quite be the path we're meant to be walking. Throw all that off and let's move forward. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. I don't know what tomorrow's reading is going to be. It might be a card. Who knows? Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.